I'm Frank DiDonato, VP of New Business at PFP, and I'm sitting here with President and CEO of Greenville Federal Credit Union, Paul Hughes, and the Chief Operating Officer, COO, Brian Spinagle from Greenville Federal Credit Union. And we're going to sit down a little bit and talk about the partnership and how we're actually helping each other engage with the membership and educate them on what PFP has to offer. So, Paul and Brian, I just want to thank you for coming up to the corporate office and spend a little time with us. I'm looking forward to having a little conversation about the partnership and PFP, and of course, learn a little bit more about Greenville Federal. So, thank you both for being here, and we're excited to get into it. So,
happy to be here.
Thank you. Sorry, just to get an overview, honestly, what really is your history and mission at Greenville Federal Credit Union?
Well, the credit union was formed back in 1968 as a school district credit union. The mission of the credit union was at that time to serve everyone who was an employee of the school district. In 2001, though, we changed to a community charter so that we could bring credit union service to everyone that lives, works, or worships in Greenville County. So that was a big change for us, but we have never forgotten where we came from.
Your core demographic, is that still the school system? Is that who you serve?
Well, they're the largest employer in Greenville County. I mean, we've expanded to take in more folks, obviously, but we have never forgotten who the school district, what they meant to us. So.
And to add to that, we opened 2 student branches, one in 2015 and one just last year. And the purpose of those gives the school, the high school, an opportunity to provide a course for the selected students to be able to take. It counts toward their college credits. And we have a branch, a physical branch that we've renovated some space in each one of the high schools. And the students, there's a teacher who kind of runs the course, but the students run the branch during the lunch period at each high school. And so we feel like that's just one of the many ways that we make sure that the school district knows that we didn't forget where we came from.
And what's good about that, Frankie, is that they are actually responsible for the marketing. They're responsible for growing that branch, for signing up students in that branch. But we don't tell them how to do it. They come up with the plans, they come up with the processes, and it has worked really well.
It's almost like your own internal mentorship program. That's pretty cool to hear. That's neat. In our climate and what's going on now, what is your key strategy as far as membership growth and retaining members? Because, living out there and seeing it's Greenville's like a little area of credit unions all over. So what is your key strategy? There's so many in Greenville. And since I've been partnered with you, it's been nothing but steady growth, which has been fantastic.
Well, we have a lot of the traditional, business development and things like that. But 2 things that come to mind: we recently started a member referral program. Just got it on our website within the last couple of months. And basically, the way it works, a member of the credit union jumps on the website. They see a little button says "Refer a friend to the credit union," something like that. And if they send that to a friend and the friend accepts, then if the one who got the referral actually joins the credit union, then they both get a little bit of a monetary reward. So we're looking forward to seeing how, that's today's digital word of mouth. And we've always been heavy on telling our staff, help us to spread the word of the credit union in the community. So this is just a newfangled way of being able to do that.
Being a member since I moved up there, I'm very impressed with your marketing and how you educate us on the products through your digital platform and emails. Is there any growth going into that? I mean, because your strategies is fantastic. It's not a lot, meaning it's not overkill where certain vendors I have send me a daily email. You have just the right mix, and that strategy, it works really well. When I see your emails, I open every one because I'm learning something.
I think Paul can speak specific to that. Back to the growing new members, we have data now where we track people who move into Greenville County, and as soon as we're aware of them, we have various ways that we reach out just to let them know about, hey, credit unions here. We'd love to have you. So that's another way to help grow our new members. And Paul can probably speak to the things that you receive and see.
You alluded to the very competitive landscape in Greenville.
Yes.
We're very aware of that. But I think what we as a credit union have always tried to do is to get one step ahead. We are the local credit union of Greenville County. Other credit unions that are moving into Greenville County, they cannot share that same sentiment. So we use that to our advantage. We are very involved in the community. We do all that we can to make sure that our mission in that community is visible.
One of the things I used you for is you guys helped build my patio on the back. It was a wonderful equity loan I got to use through you.
Did Brian actually help you?
It was, but the ease of being able to enroll in that and do that and the amount of care your team showed me, it was fantastic. That was for me, but what do you see as a whole membership? What the most popular products and services that you offer that you think the membership gets excited about or uses the most?
I think home loans, definitely. You have to have checking accounts. You have to have, the lifeline banking services that we provide. But home loans are important. It certainly establishes that member with us as their primary financial institution if you have a home loan. If you have a home loan and a checking account, then you're in really good shape.
It's primary financial institution.
Correct.
Another thing, I keep going back to our stories, but you guys always include me and when you're out in the community at the Junior Achievements outing, and you always invite me to that, and I do appreciate that, and we always have a great time. But you're one of the biggest supporters. When I see you do a great job. So what else do you do actually to support the community in the Greenville area?
Well, like most, we put a lot of money into various efforts like the Junior Achievement that you mentioned. But I think it starts in our culture and with our employees. Number one, each employee gets 8 volunteer hours a year that they can use while they're on credit union time to do something out in the community. And internally in our intranet, almost daily posts of where our employees have been out in the community, the impact that it's made. So it starts there, and it's a part of our culture. But then we have just many, many different events and activities that we support throughout the year.
As far as differentiating, we talked a little bit, but what do you see as the biggest thing that differentiates you from the credit union landscape in the area?
I think it's our member focus. We will not do anything at the credit union that doesn't really benefit our members. There's no shortage of businesses that want to market to our members. We're very careful about who we partner with. We certainly are happy with our relationship with PFP, but we're careful. We treat our members with respect, and we are trying to make sure that no one comes in who doesn't have the same focus that we have.
And as an example, if there's a new idea within the credit union, it could be anybody, but say with the strategic team, first question we ask is, does this directly or indirectly benefit our members? And if the answer is yes, then we can continue the conversation. But if the answer is no, then the follow-up question is, then why are we talking about this? So strictly member focus.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in industry going on right now as far as the credit unions in whole?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
Probably non-traditional players. You have everybody from Chime to, I guess State Farm is now a bank. So there's non-traditional players that are wanting to get into the credit union space. Some of these are not as regulated as we are, which gives us some concern, but it's highly competitive. So what we recognize is that you cannot rely on member loyalty like you used to. it's a changing environment. And I think we've been very good at trying to stay ahead of that, uh, but the pace of change is growing faster and faster.
And I would add uncertainty, whether it's uncertainty currently in the markets, uncertainty in the political landscape, uncertainty with regulation. It makes it very challenging to make decisions that will impact the members and the credit union 2 years, 3 years, and beyond. It's difficult to make those decisions today when you don't know what it's going to look like out there 2 or 3 years from now. So it's a big challenge, but it's a fun challenge. I think we choose to look at it that way, and it's a very serious business, but try to be creative and have some fun with that thinking as well.
We're very concerned. I mean, there are good things to come with AI or artificial intelligence, but there are also some scary things that are on the horizon. We're worried about fraud, that deep fakes. That's keeping us up at night. We're making a significant investment in an anti-fraud department, and we are going to be looking at AI, trying to stop it at the front end. Now, we will look certainly at some AI software that may help us serve our members, although we want to make sure that it has the right touch, the right feel. I don't know that a member really goes out of their way thinking, oh, I would like to talk to a machine, please.
Yeah.
Most of them don't. So, but there are some things to be gained from AI if used properly.
And along with AI, just data in general. Everywhere you go, everybody's talking about data. Everybody has data, but what do we have? How do we get it? What do we do with it? How do we best use that data to help our members? I think it's just it's wide open, and everybody is trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, we've invested well over $1 million over the past 3 years just to try to get all of our data in one place, and we've achieved that. And now we're trying to figure out, okay, how can we use this data to better serve our members? And we're starting to see some fruit from that investment. So we're very excited.
It's funny to hear you talk about that, because as a member and doing that, the buzzword is big data, and everyone has to have this big data, but I never heard anyone explain how to use it. So for you to invest in that and to use that, it's exciting to hear.
The first phase was really to try to figure out who are our members, what makes them tick. And you look and divide all your members up into households that tend to behave this way or that way, depending on socioeconomic status. So you kind of do that for the nuts and bolts, and then you try to figure out, okay, what service is this group potentially going to be interested in? That way we can do less of a shotgun approach to our marketing and more targeted approach. It's very efficient and gives us an opportunity to kind of build the number of services per member.
And I get very excited now to matching this to our relationship with PFP. And we've got the business development, we've got the branches, we've got the contact center, all of the the traditional ways that you all help reach out to our members and provide your services and products to our members. But how do we? It's a new day, and things are changing, and they're changing fast. So how do we together as partners figure out how we change some of our processes in order to more target market to specific individuals, and particularly identifying folks in our membership who really may need that basic life insurance policy or that basic disability policy, rather than the shotgun approach, like Paul said, rather than waiting on them to call or to come in. Be awesome to reach out and just know that, hey, this might be something that you could use or need, and we would love to talk with you about it.
The one thing I appreciate about our partnership, and Brian, you started this and evolved it, is our quarterly strategic sessions that we have, that we come in and your team meets with ours, and it's always about how can we reach the most members and educate them. We never say how can we sell them or how can we get them to do
That's
this.
right.
It's how do we educate them? How are we talking to the right people? And to have your team in there and engage with us that way, we really do appreciate. And that quarterly meeting that it keeps us, you and I, on track doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does. Yes, it does. Just an
We,
excuse to get together.
we
That's all
we
it
have
is.
that special report now, thanks to you.
I love it, by the way.
Numbers, yes.
Home run on the report.
You know, getting you to here, this is great. This is a little selfish, but as a member of the credit union, how do you see Greenville Federal Credit Union evolving over the next 5 years or so? What do you see the biggest?
Any ideas, Brian?
Well, I'll go to small businesses.
Uh-huh.
And we got into commercial lending in 2007 when, at the time, not very many credit unions at all, even the larger ones were in commercial lending. And we have gotten really, really good in the last several years at helping our small business owners with their meeting their lending needs. We have not had the tools and the systems on the deposit side to help our small business owner with their deposit accounts, their treasury management. But we are getting ready to make a pretty big investment both in people and in systems in that area. So what I see in the next 3 to 5 years, a goal of ours, well, let me back up. Probably about 2013 or so, we set a goal to be the best lender in Greenville County. And there's no way to prove that, but we feel like that we could claim that, and there could be a lot of truth to it. And I think we're going to be doing the same thing with small business owners and their deposit accounts and treasury accounts. We want to be the best small business credit union in Greenville County.
The way we did that, Frankie, was we really looked at what we were asking our members to do when they applied for a loan and really look at the processes and try to figure out, why do we do this? This seems like it is dragging on and on. How can we shorten this? How can we make it more convenient for the member? Why can't they just sign, basically answer 5 questions and get a loan? So we looked at how we were doing things and said, we've got to be better than this. So we have never taken our success for granted. We've got to get better. And when you ask what's going to happen in 5 years, I guarantee you it will not be easier. Our members will expect even more from us, and we have to be there and we have to deliver that for them.
Well, as a member and going through that process, I can't tell you that experience how easy it was to get
Just borrow more
that
money then.
that equity loan. Yeah, but it was amazing. The process was so easy. It started off as just a phone call, and they walked me through the whole process, and it was all done digitally. And then the last step, of course, you have to go and sign it. But that took 3 minutes. I couldn't believe to get it done. You guys called me with 9 locations I can go within a 5-mile radius to get everything finalized. So getting that equity loan, when you talk about the ease for your members, as a member, I'm telling you, it is a great process, and I appreciate what your team does and how it helped me out. It was a real good experience.
It is. And back to differentiating, we talked about that a minute ago. Yep. Looking out 3 to 5 years, yep. Data. We believe that we were on a bit of the cutting edge, like we talked about on commercial lending in 2007. And in 2024 and 25, I believe we are on the cutting edge of how to be really effective at using the data that we have. And so I can see 3 to 5 years from now, when other credit unions, other financial institutions are still trying to figure that out, we will already be there and have something established. I was in a group of CEOs a couple of weeks ago, 19 of them, and then little old me. But the entire group, they were from all over the country. When we talked about strategy, data strategy, every single one of them were trying to figure out that right now, like they're still on the drawing board. What do we do with data? How do we get the data? What is a digital strategy? And we we haven't arrived, but we have built, like Paul said, our foundation and put a lot of money into it. And I think that is really going to differentiate us over the next 3 to 5 years.
I think part of the issue with data is you've got credit unions, and I'm sure some small community banks that they want their data to be perfect. They want everything to fit. Well, if you wait for all of your data to get perfect, you're just going to miss out on opportunities. So we did make the investment. We started trying to monetize that investment even before we had all the pieces in there. But now all the pieces are there. We do feel like we've got a head start on some of our competition. And as a less than $500 million credit union, these are big investments that we're talking about. And some of the $1 billion credit unions that Brian has run into, they don't have even a data strategy yet. So
It's very impressive.
we hope
Yeah.
we're ahead, but it's going to take that to differentiate yourself 5 years from now.
And I'll put in a plug for
Yeah.
Paul, not just because I work for him and have known him for a long time,
It's all
but
right to do that.
the investments these huge investments that we have made over the last 10, 15 years, it seems that it has been the right ones. Again, I'll refer to commercial lending. When Paul referred to making our consumer lending process much more streamlined, now the investment in data and digital and payments and fraud, he really has an uncanny ability, in my opinion, of understanding that we have to make these investments, but which ones to make, because you can't do everything, and we can't. We're not big enough to do everything for everybody. So I think just making the right choices, but going all in when we do it and get really, really good at it. Those are the things that we believe will help us be around in 5, 10 years plus.
I just appreciate getting some insight of how the credit union's going, and again, greedily as a member, nice to hear these things. I do want to come back in a little bit and talk about our little history and how we started our partnership together. So I'd love to do that and
Sure.
talk about how we came to be and how, as a team, we're doing great to serve the members. So
Okay.
we'll do that in a few minutes.
All right.
So Paul and Brian, again, thanks for coming up and spending a little time with us. It's been a great event getting here. We had a lot of fun. But about our partnership and how we started, when you were considering us, what was your primary motivations for entering a partnership with PFP?
The partnership to us represents an extension. We're a low-income credit union designated. We have a lot of our members that are below the federal government poverty line. And for us, PFP provided an opportunity to sell Lifeline insurance products to our members. It gives us a chance to continue to educate our members on financial services and products that can really help provide for their families. So, Brian, anything to add to that?
Well, I have maybe a personal stake in the relationship and a special passion, maybe. My parents we didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. Very blue collar. Mom stayed at home for most of my young life, and my dad worked, 15, 16 hours a day. And they did not have any life insurance. When they passed a few years ago, they had none. Disability, there's times where they could have used that. So as I learned about what you guys offer and what we could pass along to our members as an offering, it did become a bit personal for me because I know what it would have meant to my mom and dad and to our family if they would have had some of those protection products. And it's so inexpensive. They would have been able to have afforded something like that, even on a very, very limited income. So it's kind of a personal thing. And anytime that we get together on the quarterly things with you, or if we're talking internally about the relationship and how it's going, I tend to, remind them, hey, let's always remember, that there are members out there, but these products may or may not necessarily be appealing to us. They may, but they may not. It's not for everybody.
Mhm.
But there's a big segment of our membership and the community who desperately need some protection when things go bad. And I think it's our job, it's our responsibility to make sure that we pay attention and we identify those needs and those members and tell them about what we offer with this partnership and how they can get in touch with you and learn more about it.
I appreciate you sharing that, Brian, because that's how we were built. And the one thing we really try to do when we enter any partnership with our credit unions is that it's about educating the member, and the member that sometimes traditional insurance agents don't want to spend the time to do, because these aren't large policies that earn these agents a lot of commission. So the reason I think we're so successful is because you work so closely with us, and we actually work out a way to find ways to engage with your members and educate them on the products. And when they're ready, they're ready. If they're not, at least they have some education that in the past they didn't have. So
Well, and how it's delivered and how it goes with the consumer. I do remember when I was young, the insurance agents knocking on the door, and every now and then, mom and dad would let them in and sit down on the couch and have a conversation, and they'd do all this fancy presentation and stuff, and they never bought because they couldn't afford what was being sold to them. And these products are very reasonably expense to your budget, and something that I think a lot of people can make work within their budgets.
And I think it's important that there are so many of our members that are in exactly the same position as Brian's parents were. So I think we recognized with PFP, a company that only works with credit unions, that you had the same focus that we have. You're just talking about insurance products. But your focus for the good of the member is the same as Greenville Federal's focus.
That's what we try to do. It's always the member first, and we appreciate you saying that. Going into that, and once we started the partnership, I know we have our quarterly meetings, but what really was your expectations when you started working with PFP?
Well, I can speak to that quite simply, and we'll never achieve this goal 100%, but internally that our staff buy into the products, which they do, because we've really helped to educate them on the importance and where they may fit within our membership and within the community. So every member who might be interested in or have the need, I would like for them to know about PFP and what you offer. That's kind of a goal. Now, how do you kind of bring that more real or practical? And it is following. We pay attention to the reports and the members that are contacted, the members who do take advantage of one or more of the products. And I just want to see the number of members increase over time. That's really, if it's something that we can measure, it's that, because that tells me that we have made PFP and we have a fundamental part of our overall credit union offerings. And as long as we see it growing, then we know that it's true. I hope with emerging technologies that we've talked about and these other things, I truly believe that we're going to find ways to increase those numbers even more. So I'm excited about that. But just the policy growth, because that tells me a lot.
That's when we have our meetings and we talk about that, the reports, the one thing I always like about our strategy meetings is, both from your end and our end, it's not how many policies sold and how much money did it make for the credit union. It's how many families were protected, how many claims were paid out, and that we both talk about that says a lot about the partnership and that's how we're focused, and
Well,
we try to make sure.
and Frankie, you and your team really do a great job at that. You know that we talk that way internally. We've said it a few times about member first and all of that. But when we do start looking at the data, the statistics, every single time, and you're typically the first one to bring it to families protected. You make sure that we start with our focus. We can talk about numbers, like you said, and these things that are important to run a business, but we're here talking about protecting families. And so, one of the reasons that Paul indicated earlier that we not only began this relationship with PFP, but consider it to be one of the most important relationships that we have is because you all speak the language that we speak about families, members, and I'm a real corny guy at work, and the employees would tell you,
Just
I'll
at work.
refer.
Just do it.
Well, my wife would say, not just at work, but it's all about the member and benefiting the member, like we talked about before. And you all say the same kind of things that we say internally to each other.
Talking on those terms, and I appreciate, thank you. And but I feel every one of our meetings is your team is all in, and they really truly are invested in making sure that the partnership is successful, and we are interacting, engaging with the members in the way that matches your brand, and they're very eager to work with us and make sure that they're supporting us everywhere we can to make sure that the member has a great experience. So it is a kudos to you two and your teams. I just wanted to let you know that every interaction we have, it's the same conversation to make sure that it's the members comfortable, it's fitting into the brand, and like I said, speaking the language. Your team has really worked with us to help make sure that we're engaging in the member the way.
Frankie, I
you're
think it
comfortable.
really just shows that they believe in the products.
Yeah,
They believe in PFP.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to get behind and support something that you believe in. So,
And you all get invested in our team. Whether it's some referrals and incentive, little extra pay. That's very helpful to those employees who earn that to supplement their income, and they've gotten to where they can count on a certain level of additional income every month by simply just making the offer to the member. Hey, would you like to enter into a sweepstakes kind of thing. And the dinners, coming to us and taking a high-performing team out to just celebrate and let them hang out, get to know you guys a little bit. It makes there's a little element of fun, and anticipation from our employees in the relationship with PFP.
We really try to make it as fun as possible, and of course, and you've learned over the last day and a half, of course, in our travels, PFP, it's people feeding people. We know how to bribe people. Getting food in front of them and offering that up. It works.
I like the tagline.
Yeah.
That works.
As far as more, do you find any or see any unique strengths that we bring to the partnership and to your membership?
Well, just to summarize what we've just said, words like genuine, sincere, engaged with us, you listen, you are responsive when we need something, whether it's help with something, understanding something, you're there. And your commitment to the relationship, because it takes us both. If we put all the effort in and you didn't, we're not going to get very far, and vice versa. But you guys put the effort in. And, Frankie, your ability to, you set people at ease, and they trust you. A lot of people talk about transparency these days, and your entire team comes across that way. But as our relationship executive, you set the tone for that in our relationship. So I just think good, wholesome, common sense qualities that must be a part of your culture is what really distinguishes your team from a lot of other relationships that we have.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's how about challenges? Since we've started, you and I, we've really focused on making this grow, and we wanted to meet Paul's expectations. I never asked, but what challenges have you faced when we started our partnership?
Working with you.
Yep, that's a bit. Well, that's the one.
No. And I'm sure Paul can chime in too. Just, I think the biggest one, and this has been on both of our behalves, although we've tried as hard as we can try, we've had a real struggle getting consistent presence in our branches. COVID really knocked that backwards for, I think, 3 years, it seems, for a lot of different reasons. But it's not a lack of effort and desire on either part. And I know recruiting these days, we face it too. It's very challenging. I think that the position that you all have to help credit unions with both business development efforts and branch lobby efforts is probably a bit of a challenging position to fill. It certainly seems to have been in Greenville in these past few years. So just getting the real traction in business development and in our branches has been a real struggle. But where we make up for it with our contact center team and how they knock it out of the park every day, every month, and the relationship that we've developed where we are sending you lists of members with particular reasons that your team will have a reach out, whether it's an email to them or a phone call to them. I think we've just added within the last week or so, we'll begin to send a list of our members who are having their credit union anniversary so that you guys can just say, hey, Greenville Federal Credit Union appreciates you, happy anniversary, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, and I will just address with both. With the branches, I think we're going to figure it out. I don't give up. And we've talked a little bit, and I think our team and your team is going to continue on with some big conversations over the next few months about the business development angle, and as I referred to earlier, how things are changing and how we're doing business and how we can, I believe, actually be more effective at business development efforts with direct marketing than we ever could have been the traditional way that we did business development.
And I appreciate you saying that. And it's our challenge too, and it's not lack of trying, like you said, but we are very cautious about who we're putting in the lobby or engaging with your members, and it's got to be a good fit. You can't have a guy like me. It sounds like a used car salesman in their lobby talking to your members. You want to have somebody who makes them feel comfortable and interacts with them well and does the right thing. It's about the members first. It's about educating them. And that's why we always try to lead with a credit union product, make sure they're comfortable, ask them about their membership before we go into that. So we're going to keep trying, but that's our focus, is that it's the risk we take that we don't ever want to have any open positions, obviously. But it's better to have it open and get the right person than to filter through some people who you would come to say this is just not a good fit or it makes our members uncomfortable type of thing. We're very cognizant of that, and we try to make sure that we're not, putting someone in there that would not fit into the culture that you're providing. Because even the way you realigned all your lobbies and all your branches, you make it so interactive and warm for the members. The way there's no line in between you and the member. It's not an old-fashioned teller line. The way you have the actual podium set up and the members physically right there talking to it is way ahead of the game, and I'm very impressed with that. And the vision you had to do that was amazing. what do you think as far as the membership? Have you have any feedback, or how do you think that it's benefited the members? I know we talked a little about the insurance and protecting, but has there ever been any feedback from your team or the members and how they felt about the family security plan?
I don't have a specific example with me right now,
Yep.
but I do know that, yes, our employees do hear from members who have, had to take advantage of, the benefit of a product that they have purchased. Also, the members, by and large, when we're trying to sell anything, and it is sales, we try to really talk about relationships and stuff, but it's sales. And there are some people who aren't really comfortable with that, no matter who it is and how it's done. So it's not perfect, but I don't get, and we don't get complaints from members about how they have been approached by PFP, or any or how that interaction went. There may, over these years, have been a handful. I'm sure there have been where we have heard a little something from a member, and we've passed it along to you all, and together we've kind of taken a look at that situation and what maybe could have been done better. You guys were very receptive and responsive. So it's a very, very, very small amount who have really said anything that could be considered negative at all about their interaction with PFP.
And we appreciate you saying that. I've actually a little surprised. I had them print out some numbers
I
since
like surprises.
2018. We had, for your membership, PFP, for your families, there's been $252,000 in claims paid out to your membership since 2018. So it's
Wow.
doing what it's supposed to, and there have been 135 claims that have been made for that amount of money, and it's 62 families that were affected. So that's how many claims the families. Now, here's what's amazing already. Families protected, there's 2,194 families
Wow.
that of Greenville Federal Credit Union that are protected. So, as we engage and do it, it's just important. I wanted to share that because, out of that, there's already 2,984 policies in effect. So when life happens, something's going to be there for them and when they need it the most. And that's because of your efforts and your team's efforts and the way we talk about all these reporting and all that.
Well,
impressive.
that is awesome to hear. And we talk about the monthly report or maybe the annual report from the previous year, but we haven't seen that look for the entire relationship. So as we do with all the other information, we will share that with our team because that's powerful.
I mean, Frankie,
It's-
that's 63 families that
Mhm.
have very much needed coverage for an emergency or for whatever product they purchased, and they're not having to worry about, as Brian's story, how are they going to pay for this? They've got insurance to take care of that. So that's 63 stories just like Brian's.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, and
Yeah.
that's when we go through all the reporting, all the strategies. But that's the bottom line. That's what we're here to do is make sure that families have what they need and the time they need it the most. So
Thank you for that.
yeah, so earlier we were talking about the big data and targeting members and making sure that we're talking to the right member about the right product and what they need. One of the things PFP has now is our educational hub, and we're very excited about that, and we're glad to be providing that for your members because it works in a way where it goes out to the member, and the member gets to choose how they want to learn. It puts them in control. They can click and watch a video, or they can read an article or a snippet, or they can actually reach out to either the credit union or PFP to do that. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on the hub and how that fits in with everything you have going on.
Frankie, I know we're committed to financial literacy. We want our members to be educated about everything from insurance products to choices that they make that sometimes bad choices that can be very, very expensive to the member over their lifetime. Whether it's building a good credit report, et cetera, things that can really help them save money. So I think PFB's hub can be a part of that. I mean, we're getting ready to open up a branch within the next couple of years in a low-income area of Greenville County, and we are very committed to teaching this community how to live better financial lives. Anything to add to that, Brian?
No, I mean, I think that covers everything, other than to just repeat just how important this initiative is to us, and the initiative being financial literacy and all of its shapes and forms. There are so many different topics now that we need to provide some type of information and education to our members. Insurance products, yes, but how to avoid fraud. What is fraud? What kinds of fraud is happening out there in the world these days that our members need to be aware of? How to balance a checkbook, like Paul said, how to build and improve a credit score, how to plan and get your budget set to where you can buy that first home, and on and on and on. And with all of those options, there are tools. There are financial literacy tools everywhere out there. So for us, a challenge is one by one to identify the partner and the tools that we select to build that menu of financial literacy for our members. And I agree with Paul. PFP is going to be an important part of that toolkit that we are building for our members.
One of the advantages of having it and building it out is that we actually have the capabilities where they can either read it in Spanish or watch a video, and we actually have bilingual employees now that in those areas, if there are people who want to speak in their native tongue, we have the capabilities to be able to do that and make them comfortable.
Yeah, the area that we are looking at is a very heavy Latino community, so we are recognizing the challenges as we get involved in that community, and we want to be ready. So I think PFB can be a help to that.
So, Paul and Brian, I just want to thank you for coming up here and spending a few minutes with us talking about the partnership and the credit union. I do really appreciate you coming up, taking some time up to spend it with us. Thank you.
Really enjoyed it, Frankie. And you can find us if you're looking for us on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Catch us on our website, www.greenvillefcu.com. And hopefully you'll jump on there and like all of our posts. We'd love it.
Appreciate you. And I can't tell you enough how much I enjoy being a member and appreciate all you've done for me. So thank you.
Thanks again, Frankie.